Real estate is a people business, and there are a lot of different ways to connect with people in your community. Networking is one of them. I think about one of my past students, a fellow by the name of John in the city that I live in. John's a great big guy. He's like a big teddy bear, and he's really social. He's not intimidating. He's very engaging. He's very thoughtful in his conversations. I was at a charity event a while ago, and John was there. I had a few minutes to talk to him, but standing back watching John, I was watching him move through that group of people and connect with everybody. John was engaging, having conversations, there was laughter, and people were really drawn to his personality. But I can tell you this, that's one of John's main forms of prospecting for new business. He goes to every social thing that's going on in town, and he connects with all the business people. I promise you, by the end of that evening, he'd walked out with 2 or 3 appointments, people that were serious about selling or thinking about buying, and they were going to get together and have a further discussion about it. So John uses the community as a form of connecting to be able to extend his reach from a real estate perspective and advance his client base. So my suggestion to you is to try to get out socially in the community. I would take a look at the calendar for your community and identify with what events are going on. Is there a charity event, raising money for the hospital, something for sick kids, Habitat for Humanity, Knights of Columbus, Kiwanis, Rotarians? There's always something going on. And the point is, those are typically all local business people that are out talking to each other. There's 2 things you want to know about this. You want to work on possibly selling their house and helping them buy a house. But understand, business people know a lot of business people, and when you're friends with one, they make you friends with a whole lot of other people. That's how you expand your network. So I'm going to suggest to you, break out the heels, get your sports jacket out, and take a look at the community calendar. Go out and socialize. Now, another thing that happens at these social events, and I see this all the time, where somebody will identify somebody they know. They're uncomfortable going through the exercise of introducing themselves to a whole bunch of new people. So what do? They make a beeline for the person they know, and they stand next to them all night. Now, do I think you should go over and say hello? The answer is yes. But after you've had your 10 or 15 minute discussion, don't lose sight of the reason you're here. And that was to meet new people. So you got to break out of your comfort zone. You got to make your way across the floor at the meeting or at the charity event, and you need to introduce yourself to new people to expand your possibilities. One of the things I used to do with my office was the last Friday of the month, I used to throw a soiree in my office. From 4 to 6, I would have all the business people in town stop in for a glass of wine and a piece of cheese. So I would go around and invite all the small businesses. I'd invite the lawyers, town council members. I'd invite the property appraisers. I'd invite the bankers. I'd invite everyone. Now, of course, not everybody came, but every Friday, the last Friday of every month, they knew Chris always had a little cocktail thing going on. And we met socially, but there was always that underlying message in the environment. And it was a chance for us to connect with other business people in a very comfortable environment. Next thing you know, somebody's talking to you about buying or selling something, or they know somebody who does. Now, I've seen this idea expanded. One of my past students in the last few years took this idea, and instead of doing it at their office, what they did was they went around at the beginning of the year, they contacted 12 good restaurants. They went in and sat down and talked to the restaurant owners, and they said, we'd like to help you. We'd like to help market your business. You've got a great local business. It's really highly thought of. And the last Friday of the month, I like to throw a little soiree. What I'd like to do is bring a whole bunch of people down to your restaurant for cocktails. Now, and I'll promote it to all the business people to get them to come down. This would be a great way for you to introduce your menu, your restaurant, that sort of thing to people who have never been there before. The only thing I ask is that you put out some nibblies. They'll pay their own bar bill, and then some of them are going to actually stay, but other folks will want to come back with their spouse or partner at some point and have dinner. So it'll be a great chance to market your restaurant. So what he went around and did was chose 12 restaurants. Once a month, he put on an event at one of the restaurants, invited all the business people. What was interesting, after a couple of years, my wife Tina and I had the opportunity to go to one of their events on a Friday afternoon in the summer in a restaurant in our town with a big patio. And what I was surprised was, after a couple of years of doing this, there was like 400 people had come out. At one point, I was talking to our crown attorney, you may call them district attorneys, but the local sort of prosecutor. And I was surprised at the number of people that were coming out to these soirees. And what was neat about it was my two past real estate agents that were putting this on, they were sort of the center point. This was their event, and it was done once a month. And everybody was excited to go to the next restaurant next month and go for drinks and get together. And it was fabulous. I was watching this from a marketing perspective, take an idea that I had years ago and really get it to expand to the point where this became a main source of business opportunities for the real estate agents that were doing it. Now, Chamber of Commerce, there's a great association for you to join. Chamber is full of all kinds of small business people. This would be a great opportunity for, first and foremost, to prospect potential people at the Chamber that might want to buy or sell a property, local merchant, that sort of thing. But keep in mind, those merchants all know people, and you got to be friends with people in real estate. Everybody's just a few degrees separated from somebody. So everybody knows somebody who's thinking about buying or selling. The more people you have those conversations with, the more people you meet in a social situation, the more likely you're going to convert not just the business that's in front of you, but the business they may know about that would be a good fit for you. The next one I have for you is you want to support local charities. You want to get involved in Meals on Wheels. You want to get involved with the Habitat for Humanity, the Knights of Columbus, the Kiwanis, the local hospital, whatever it is, food bank. Doesn't matter. Get involved in the community for a couple of reasons. This community supports you, so you need to give something back to it, number one. I think that's really important. And then I'm not talking about money. Anybody can give money. Not everybody can give time, and time is more valuable than money. So you want to put some time in. But the other thing that's going to happen is you're going to meet other business people who are going to be putting some time in. So that's a chance for you to, again, meet people. Now, years ago, when I was selling real estate, I used to pick up donations for our food bank at our church. Our food bank was the St. Vincent de Paul food bank at our church. So once every 2 weeks, I had the responsibility of going around and picking up donations. And most of it was to local merchants, local restaurants or grocery stores that were willing to make donations. But also there were some people in our church that were making donations. The point was I put on my career apparel and I went around to all the merchants. Now, often other people who were picking up stuff, on the weeks that I weren't, they would just run in, grab something, run out because they were busy. But not me. I'm a talker. So what do? I go in to pick up the donation, got my career apparel on, and I'm shooting the breeze. Now, what should have taken me maybe an hour or 90 minutes, sometimes would take me 4 hours because I was talking to everybody. But I'm building relationships. So 2 weeks later, when I come in to pick up whatever the donation is, they're like, "There's Chris. Hey, how are you doing, buddy?" And next thing you know, he's saying, "I'm glad you're here. My younger brother's thinking about buying something. He's got a nice house, but he wants to do a little something upscale. He's looking over in the Cumberland area. Can you help him?" And next thing I'm saying, "Well, listen, let's get him on the phone right now." "Right now? Sure, let's give him a call." Next thing you know, I'm booking an appointment with this guy's brother because I was around picking up. Now, I want you to know, I'm not there to expand my business. I'm there to do good work for the community. But in the process, I am all about real estate, so of course it's going to come up after people get to know you. How do you turn strangers into friends? Constant contact. So if you continue to see somebody over and over again, yes, they become friendly with you. And friendly means conversations. And conversations usually means what's important to them is what's really important. And then what happens is, next thing you know, you're helping them out with a real estate need or a family member or a neighbor, and your business is expanding. And while all this is going on, you're doing really good work for the community. Now, often I find real estate agents want to separate their personal life from their professional life. And I think it's a mistake. I don't think we live in silos. I don't think you separate your business from your personal. I think the two of them kind of blend together. I always ask people, you should have some hobbies. And a lot of times people in real estate say, "I don't have time for hobbies." And I say, well, that's where you're missing the point. Let me ask you this, and I say this to my classes all the time. Is there anybody who likes to cook? And there's always people's hands go up, say, "Yeah, I like to cook." And I say, well, have you ever thought about joining a cooking class? "I don't have time. I'm so busy with work." Well, what if work was doing a cooking class? How does that work? Well, you're allowed to go out and socialize. You should have a life. But while you're out there at your cooking class, you're meeting all kinds of people. Now, I'm not saying the first time you meet somebody, you should be walking around your class putting business cards in everybody's hand. But it's normal after a couple of classes for somebody to say, so what do you do when you're not cooking? I say, oh, I'm real estate. I love real estate. I've always been excited about gourmet kitchens or whatever it is. Next thing you know, they're asking you, they're talking, their conversation unfolds, and you're coming over to their house next week for dinner and you're going to share a bottle of wine. The point is you're allowed to be out and have a life. But while you're having your life, that doesn't mean you have two separate lives. You have one life. And real estate happens to be a big part of it. So I'm not saying that you're going to walk around and put business cards in everybody's hands. But what I am saying is it's normal for people to ask you about real estate. And the fact that you're out enjoying yourself, socializing, is a great way for people to get to see you as a real person making a contribution to the community and enjoying yourself. Next one I have for you is you want to join a health club. I think we can all agree on the benefits of exercise. I don't think there's anybody that can dispute that. Doesn't matter what kind of shape you're in, we can all afford to be in a little better shape, that's for sure. Now, when you look at my gym, for instance, in town, my gym has 5,000 members. I mean, that's basically a farm area for real estate all unto itself. But you got to figure out ways to leverage that experience. Most people go into a gym, they put their headphones on, they don't want to talk to anybody, they want to do their workout and go. But I'm going to tell you that there are people that are in there all the time, and there are people that are there at the same time you are all the time. So you're going to get to recognize them. And how do we turn strangers into friends? Constant contact. But what we want to do is use that experience elegantly. So my suggestion is I would have a bunch of water bottles made up with my name and logo on it. Call Chris, best realtor in town or whatever it is for Leader Realty. And every time I went to the gym, every day, I would take in 10 water bottles or 5 water bottles, and I would give them out to people that are working out in the gym. After a while, everybody in your gym would be walking around with one of your water bottles, and they'd be saying, people who don't have water bottles like that would say, where'd you get that water bottle? And they'd say, well, there's this real estate guy here. He's always here. You'll see him. His name's Chris. It's always, it says list with Chris on his t-shirt. And they're like, the next time they see you, it's like, oh, you're the guy with the water bottles. I say, yeah, I'd be happy to get you one. Let me get you some water bottles. So now everybody's got your name. Everybody knows who you are. I would go even further. I'd get t-shirts made up that say list with Chris, and I'd hand out 2 or 3 every day at the gym. It's a form of marketing. It's like a cheaper keeper. Think about it this way. If everybody was walking around in the gym with your name on a t-shirt, what would that say? 5,000 members. I'd have a run that I would do to raise charity, and I would get people in the gym involved in a cardio run, and I'd call the newspaper and get the local television station there. We're raising money. We're doing it for good health, all of that stuff. But the point is that you should get to the point where people recognize you in that gym. And that gym's got a whole lot of members. They see you on a regular basis. And I got to tell you, for you who are in good shape, talking to another gym person who's in good shape about real estate, you have some other bonds in common. That's your exercise routine. That could be your diet. That could be the amount of calories you're working off of, or whatever it is that's got you tuned up that you're having a conversation with them. At a certain point on a listing appointment, you need to say to them, well, I'm really enjoying this conversation, but we got here to talk about real estate. Maybe we should switch gears. Can you see there's already some depth in that relationship that wasn't there for somebody else? So let's use our day-to-day activities as a way of extending our reach in the community. You want to be talking real estate, but you got to do it elegantly. Then I would recommend that you go to small local businesses and not buy on Amazon. I get Amazon, and I get the fact that it's convenient. I get that. And I get the fact you can shop price. No doubt about it. But trust me when I say it, the people at Amazon, wherever they are not coming to your town to buy a house from you. And they're not going to continue to promote you to other people in town to buy a house from you. So yes, it may cost a little more to go to the local merchant, but that local merchant is a real person who's making a contribution to your community. And if you go consistently and regularly, they'll know you. They'll like you, they'll trust you, they'll do business with you, and they'll recommend you to other people that come in the store. Support small local business. And in the process, in return, they'll support you as a local business person. Listen, you can't have it both ways. So you got to make a decision. And when you go in to buy something, spend some time and talk to the merchant. Get to know them as a person so that they would feel comfortable recommending you as a local real estate professional. Next one I have for you is a community Facebook page. You have a personal page. You probably have a business page. But the truth of the matter is, whatever you got to say, I'm probably not that interested in listening to every day. I mean, the only time I want to talk to a real estate agent about real estate is when I want to buy a house or sell a house. Yeah, I might be a little bit curious and I might want to have a general conversation. But getting down to the short strokes, the real nitty gritty, I'm interested in kitchens when I'm doing my kitchen over. If I'm not doing my kitchen over, I'm browsing and maybe just kind of passing by. The point I'm trying to say is this: you want to develop a Facebook business page about your community. Give people a reason to want to visit with it regularly. So I would do up something, and I saw this done in the Pittsburgh area, in Moon Township. And one of my real estate agents did up a website called 365 Fun Things to Do in the North Hills on Facebook. And then he went around to all the local merchants and he helped them advertise on that, and he got people involved and people were making contributions, and wherever he went, he took photos of where he was in the community and he posted something fun every day that people should consider about why it's great to live there. The point is, he started to get a lot of traction. And once he got traction, he was able to convert that traction as a local expert in the real estate community into helping him develop and grow his business. So just another strategy to consider. But what about 365 fun things to do in your town? Next one I have for you is home shows. I always did home shows when I was in real estate. I had my booth, I had it set up, and I learned a lot of things about home shows. First of all, you can't do it on your own because 9 hours on your feet is going to kill you, number one. So you need some support there. And I put a nice booth together. It's not that expensive, a bit of a backdrop. I put a little television, flat screen TV or computer monitor with my houses. I'd have lots of pictures of houses rotating because that will always stop people in their tracks. I give away some cold bottles of water, some nice feature sheets. I'd be dressed up in my career apparel, all of that. And I would be engaging people as they walk by. Interested in finding out what your home's worth, getting a free evaluation, ever interested in this? I get my builders involved. I had my builders involved. I even had a builder one time build my booth, made it look like a cute little gingerbread house, and it was fabulous. And it was neat because when we went to the home show, his entire framing crew showed up. The booth came off the back of the truck. It all came in pieces. Zoom, zoom, zoom. The roof went up, and we had this really cool house that we made up. And people could actually go inside the house to look at photos of the property, and we had a spot where they could sit and talk to people. It was really neat. And we did this in one of the big home shows. We did it a couple of times, to be honest with you. But the other thing I want to tell you about home shows is that everybody who comes to a home show is there because they either have a home or want a home. So think about it that way. You couldn't get a better audience of people. And then secondly, everybody that has a booth there has a home and is in the business of housing one form or another. They're roofers, they're swimming pool people, they're hot tub people, they're kitchen people, they're cabinet people, they're just people with all kinds of supplies to the home industry. So the one thing you want to do is make connections with everybody that's there, because they have people they're doing business with that could extend your reach. And they too will buy and sell houses. So everybody has to live somewhere. So everybody's a potential client. Think of it that way. So we want to make sure we're engaging. Don't stand behind the table and look not approachable. Be happy, approachable, give out some freebies as people are walking by, engage with everybody, have them come over and have a look at the pictures and talk to people. Remember, we're in the business of talking to people. We're salespeople. Next one I have for you is bridal shows. They're just like home shows. The neat thing about a bridal show is that those, you know what a bride wants besides a husband? And they want a house. Every bride wants a house and a husband to go along with it, obviously. And you know who goes to the bridal shows? Mom. And you know what mom has? Mom has money. That's what mom has. And what does mom want for her daughter? A beautiful wedding and a beautiful house to go to after the wedding. So yes, that's the right spot to be. Take your home show booth and plant it at the bridal show, because I'm telling you, they all want a house and they all want a husband. You're in the right spot. The next one I have for you is wedding photographers. These people are great because they know who's getting married before the parents do, right? And not only that, the way the sequence normally goes is first they get married, then they buy a house. So in the order of sequence, this would be the perfect person to develop relationships with, the wedding photographers, because they know who's getting married. I love farmers markets. One of my agents in Florida had a booth at the local farmers market every Saturday. I think it cost them $50 to have the booth. But what was neat about that is a couple of things. First of all, people who like farm to table come every week. And as I've said to you, the last 3 slides, how do we turn strangers into friends? Constant contact. So you're there every Saturday, and the same whole bunch of people from the town are coming through every Saturday to buy their organic vegetables and get all that local honey and whatever it is they're doing. So my point is, it's like having an open house every week with hundreds and hundreds of local people walking by. What a great opportunity to connect with people in the community. And just as a matter of volume, even though you're not in the farmer's business, There's people who are going to want to talk to you about real estate. And don't be dismissive of all the people who have booths there. They buy houses too, and they have people who buy houses. So we're friendly with everybody. And I think farmers markets are a great idea. If you ever see a local announcement where a couple is getting married, take the time to send a handwritten note and put a stamp on it, snail mail, and send it to them and say, I just wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate you and wish you a lifetime of happiness and a wonderful life. And we send that off to them. Now I can tell you 1 out of 10 with your business card, 1 out of 10 of them are going to call you and say, we got this really nice card from you. Do we know you? And you're going to say, well, actually, you don't. I saw your announcement. I thought you were absolutely an adorable couple, and I wanted to take an opportunity to wish you a successful life together. And well, but while I have you on the phone, have you guys thought about buying a house? And next thing you know, they're saying, well, that was why we called. We got this card. We didn't know who you were, but we are talking about it, so we wanted to have a conversation with you. What an easy thing to do. You could do it, once a week, sit down, push out some cards to people and say congratulations. And if 1 out of 10, heck, if 1 out of 20 of them bought a house from you, wouldn't that be a fabulous return for some stamps and some time? Next one I have for you is sponsor local kids sporting teams. Now, don't coach the team, okay? The coach never wins. I mean, the parents are never happy with the coach. The coach is never on the field long enough, never on the ice long enough. He's not getting enough time. They don't have him in the right position. You're always in trouble as the coach because they think their kid's going to go to the major leagues. But I'll tell you who they love. They love the sponsor because, organized sports for a lot of people can be very expensive. Between gloves and skates and boots and helmets and whatever else is involved, it's costly. So the fact that you would make a contribution to the community, it's possible so children could have an amazing experience, goes a long way with parents, and parents own homes. Now, what I would do with that experience is I would, buy them their jerseys and sponsor the team. And a couple of times throughout the year, I would let the coach know you'll be coming and bringing pizzas and a big Coleman cooler full of sodas for the parents and the kids after the baseball game or after the hockey game or after the football game. And the other thing I want you to do, as with good sportsmanlike conduct, walk across, talk to the other coach, the other bench. Let them know that you are the sponsor of the team across the way, that you have a real appreciation for good sportsmanlike conduct, and the sport itself is something you've always loved. So you've made it your mission to make a contribution every year to the community so young people could enjoy what you've enjoyed so much. Fabulous. But here's what the invite is. I got extra pizza and sodas. Your parents from your side and all your kids are welcome to come across at the end of the day. And we're going to have a few minutes to have some community together. That's a great way for you to connect with people. And of course, everyone's going to want to know who brought the pizzas. Why are you doing this? Who are you? Man, aren't you an amazing person? That's how we make those inroads with the parents who get to know you. And then when the time comes, they're going to say, give that guy a call. We met him at the baseball game. He seemed really nice. Where's his card, by the way? Oh, I've got it here. Next thing you know, they're calling you and saying, we'd like to talk to you. So we sponsor teams. Now, I've got agents who have their own television show on real estate, and I have agents who have their own column, and I have agents who have their own radio show. So my suggestion to you is instead of always advertising, what if you were to reach out to some of the local radio stations and say, I'd like to do a radio call-in show on real estate. I mean, real estate's hot. Everybody wants to talk about it. I'm telling you, you do 15 minutes after sort of the noon lunch, and you'd have a great call-in show. People would be asking you. They ask them to send the questions in advance. Maybe you'll just answer a couple of questions on and have an exchange with the disc jockey or whatever who's ever hosting it. I've seen people do this on television, and I've been interviewed a couple of times on different agents' real estate TV shows where we were having discussions about the direction of the real estate industry or what challenges agents were facing. And then I've seen people do columns. What's really important about all of this, it's getting that endorsement from the television station, the radio station, or the newspaper says something to the community. It says whatever you have to say must be important because they're willing to give you some airtime. That's the value in this. Now, it's going to take a little work on your time to maintain some consistency and come up with content, but I can tell you, you can't buy that kind of advertising in your marketplace. College seminars, I'd contact your local community college and ask to put on a seminar once a quarter on how to buy real estate. The reason I would do that, and you're going to say, well, college kids, they don't have any money. No, but their parents do. And there's a whole business in student housing, off-campus housing. So there's a whole business around that. For instance, one of my best friends, his two sons are going off to university. Now, they're really ingenious, these kids, and they're good workers. One of them has saved up enough money and some help from his parents, bought a condominium. Can you imagine buying a condominium while you're going through university? Isn't that cool? But he rented out the other 2 rooms, and that helped pay the cost. So the parents looked at this as an exercise to teach their son about the value of real estate, how to own real estate, how to understand mortgages, how the home inspection process works. But all of this is part of life, and they wanted him to have that experience. They also wanted to put a pencil to some paper and say, let's do the math on this. What does it cost to live on campus? What does it cost if you were to rent an apartment on your own? What would it cost to buy something and rent out some space to other people? Could this be something we would consider mathematically? So what I'm going to say to you is, if you're putting on these seminars, yes, we talk to it about the kids, but at some point, don't be surprised if one of those kids' parents reaches out and says, I'd like to talk to you. I'll bet, in fact, you know somebody who bought a house, put their kids in it while they were going through university, rented out 2 or 3 other rooms to help pay for the cost while they were there, cover the mortgage or whatever it was. When the kid graduated, they sold the property, and it made a substantial contribution to their cost of going to school and getting an education. So the point I'm trying to say is there's an opportunity there. Now, you go to the same hairdresser or the same spa to get your nails done. And I want to challenge you on this, because often I find people kind of go to the cheap place, the super duper $10 haircut place. They run in and get their hair cut from whoever's going to cut their hair, and they leave. Mistake. They go to the cheap place to get their nails done, where, they don't even know the lady who's doing their nails. They just get them done and they leave. Mistake. I love the idea of getting, personal grooming and doing all of that. That's not the issue. The real issue here is that there is an opportunity for you to connect with somebody at a local level. Like, for instance, if you go get your nails done every couple of weeks, I'm going to suggest you go on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, and you're going to say, well, that would cut into my business. But you got to know, inside the spa Thursday night at 7 o'clock, it's all full of people. And what are they all talking about? And you come every 2 weeks. You're kind of part of the club. Next thing you know, the person who's getting their nails next to you is talking about selling their house, or they know somebody on their street who's thinking about selling. The opportunity is there because it's all about relationships. Same thing when you get your hair cut. Often we get the cheap haircut and we run out. Instead of spending a few minutes getting to know the barber or the stylist, talking to them, meeting other people in the spa or the hairdressing place that you're getting your haircut, it's about relationships. And they know a lot of people, so we want to tap into that. Waiters and waitresses. All of us have probably worked in food services at some point. And I can tell you, let me give you another tip. Pick 2 or 3 restaurants in town that you absolutely love and frequent them consistently. You need to get to know everybody in the restaurant. You want to go to if your dinner reservation's for 7, don't go at 7, go at 6:30. Go to the bar and have a couple of drinks. Talk to people around the bar, the other people who come into the bar. Get to know the bartender at the bar. Get to know your waiter and waitresses, and tip well. And if you keep coming back over time, you'll become a fixture, and they will help promote you. If you are known by no one, you're going to get business nowhere. But if you're known by someone, you're going to get business somewhere. So let's get known somewhere, so people start recommending you. People start talking positively about you. Headhunters, let's get a hold of local headhunters. They move executives in and out. You would make a great contribution to their team, helping them move people in and move people out and sell potential prospects on the community. Physician recruiters, let's contact your hospital. You probably don't realize this, but somebody has the job of searching the globe for physicians that would fill spaces that are available in your community. Now, how would you like to sell 50 or 100 doctors a year, houses? Well, a really large regional hospital moves 20, 30, 40, 50 doctors in and out. Somebody is responsible for directing the traffic, and it's the physician recruiter. That person knows when they're coming to town, what they're looking for, if they have kids, all of that. And it's in their benefit to convince the doctor to work there. So you would have a vested interest in getting the doctor to buy into the community. Get a hold of your physician recruiter. Tremendous opportunity for a lot of business in and out. Next one I have for you is corporate HR. They are constantly looking at downsizing or smart sizing or resizing their businesses. Executives are coming and going all the time. Reach out and speak to HR and find out if anybody's coming in or anybody's going out, and if you could be of any assistance. Make friends with the head of HR departments in a lot of the large companies. I bet every day on your way to the office, you stop into the same coffee shop and pick up a coffee. What I want you to do is something different again. I want you not to do the drive-through. I want you to go in. I want you to talk to people. I want you to have your career apparel on. And while you're standing in line, I want you to buy the person behind you a cup of coffee. Now, that person probably comes to the same coffee shop, just like you, around the same time every day. I need you as a real estate professional to turn around, introduce yourself, hand them your card, and say, I make it a habit of mine every day to introduce myself to somebody I've never met. And in the process, to start a friendship, I always offer to buy them something. Can I buy you your coffee this morning? I'm a local real estate professional, and my job requires me to meet lots of new people. That's all you need to do. And then buy them a coffee, wish them a great, successful day. Don't ask them if they want to buy or sell a house, because 2 weeks from now, you're going to be in getting a coffee, buying the next guy in line a cup of coffee, and they're going to be there. Hey, Chris, nice to see you. And you're going to say, oh, gosh, it's good to see you. How are you doing? Do you understand how friendships start? It starts by you demonstrating a sense of kindness.